You have probably heard the term eSports, but do you think eSports and video games are different or the same thing?
Oh, I think sometimes they're the same. Sometimes they are different. That's my opinion, because esports are competitive video games, right? So video games are video games. Just when they're competitive, they turn into esports. So I think sometimes you might be able to consider them the same thing. But for the most part, esports and video games are very different from each other. And there are certain things that make them different.
We'll actually kind of talk about some of the elements of esports. Competitive video game competitions, right? Like you see behind us, these are pro players sitting within 20 feet of us. It's crazy. But there's more to it than that, right? You see top left, there's spectators. If we were to turn this computer just to the left, there's about 250 people watching here in person. I think there's several thousand watching online, just like you're watching us from home. So casual gaming or video games are typically just played with your friends in a living room, or you go over to your friend's house to play. These are actually have spectators. If you go next, you will also see the word organized pop up in the top corner. So there's spectators that are watching, and it's organized. Having a team is one example. You see, this is an organized event. There's a staff, and so it's organized, and there's teams. There's a main stage behind us. There's two organizations playing. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. There's a broadcast around it. So we have people watching all around the world, watching organized teams and leagues, which is amazing. Revenue. Revenue. If you know what revenue is, post it in chat. What do you think revenue means? Revenue, as you're typing, basically means money. Yes, earnings. Perfect. So not only are these players playing for money, and Joe, if you lean a little bit to the left, you can't see it, but there's a big trophy right there. If you look right there, there's a big trophy, but they're also playing for money. And organizations make money. The tournament makes money. There's a lot of money going around this industry. You heard William Collis talk about $25 billion floating around the industry in different ways. Typically, you see about 1.1 billion, but again, William said that his was all encompassing, right? And so we have a ton of money floating around the industry, and part of it is player revenue or player salaries, but it's also tournament winnings and other things. Skill. Again, I play casually. Joey plays casually. I'm sure a lot of you play casually. I used to play competitively and get to play online. I never really traveled like these guys are doing back here. But it takes a high level of skill, and it takes a lot of training and dedication. Some of these players are playing up to 60 hours a week, right? And so, like William said, it's hard to balance that, but you got to find a way. And so we'll talk about well-being at the end of this, but just know that esports, yes, it does encompass video games, but it also has spectators. It's organized. There's revenue involved, and there's skill.
Yeah, and a high skill, right? Because we have some skill playing our video games. I grew up playing Halo, played kind of competitively in college. Chris plays a lot of Call of Duty, but the skill that these players have at this level is absolutely insane. What you see behind us, these are pro gamers, right? This is League of Legends. So 2 teams of 5 playing against each other. These are professional gamers earning money. They have a salary. They get money for the winnings at tournaments. So they're making a career out of this. That's one option. But there's got to be some other opportunities out there, right? So what are some of those careers? You're going to see on this next slide. Let's go to the next slide. There is a lot of opportunities. Boom, right there. These are kind of hard to read. We're not going to read, obviously, all of these. But it's a really cool chart that shows you all the different areas for possibly working in and around esports beyond just being that pro gamer. I mean, there's opportunities in broadcast production, event management. There's intellectual property, which means the law side of things. There's human resources, there's management, there's education. There's all these different areas that go into making esports. As Chris said, it's not just playing video games. There's a lot more that goes into it. That organized factor, that takes people working behind the scenes that aren't just on the stage playing, right? There's a lot more to it. When I panned over earlier to show you the arena here, you saw the broadcast production side. There are event managers standing at the back with microphones and earphones or ear sets in to listen to each other so they know what's going on to make the event run. So all these different careers exist that aren't just playing games. As William said, play games. You've got to keep playing games. Play with intentionality. It's great to aspire to be a pro gamer, but you've got to understand, like, the top 0.001% of people make it as a pro gamer as an actual career. Some of them are here right now. There are some former professionals. There are some current professionals. They're here, and they'll tell you This is tough to do. And making this a career can be extremely difficult. So have that backup plan. Look at all these other areas you might be interested in that have high paying jobs. You're able to travel. You're still involved with esports, even though you're not competing. You're around it, working events, involved with the great people that work in esports. So it's good to understand that all of these different options you see here are possible opportunities to work in esports. You can also look it up online. It's a popular one that we use. So some of those careers are event management, right? So the people that run the event, get sponsors, get marketing materials out there. They're the tournament organizers, whether it's a LAN event, local area network, which is in person, like you see here, or an online event. Then there's also the broadcast production, from shoutcasting to content creation, which Chris is going to talk about in a little bit, but also videography, video editing, graphic design, a lot of areas there. There's the businesses and management side. There's things like trying to sell assets, trying to get sponsors to work with your company, trying to organize and manage a company, from hiring a general manager to signing players, working on contract negotiation. There's education, being teachers, working at colleges and high schools. So all those are just some of the many areas. Coaching, another big one, being a coach for esports. You might have a team, that team needs a coach. So even if you're not playing anymore, you still know about the game. Those are just some of the areas that you can get into. Sorry, it's a little blurry. We'll try to get a clearer version to you so you can have it, because this is something to show your parents. Tell them, I'm not trying to be just a pro gamer. I can still make this a career beyond playing video games.